Hey, what's going on, guys? How do you do? It's your boy Gray here, and welcome back to the channel. Ladies and gentlemen, Black Ops 6 is officially here, and in today's video, I wanted to show you guys the settings that I use in multiplayer. And real quick, if you guys found this video informative or helpful, please drop a like on today's video, click on that thumbs up, and subscribe to the channel if you're new, if you just haven't done so already. We got a lot of Call of Duty content coming up. These are the settings that I use that I feel comfortable with. If you guys want to make any changes, by all means, feel free to do that. All right, so let's start things off under the controller settings here, and the first tab says controller. So button layout for me, ladies and gentlemen, that's tactical. For the stick layout preset, that has always been default. I've never changed that before. So next up here, guys, sensitivity, both horizontal and vertical. I got mine set to 6.6, and this is where I recommend you guys start off. It's all personal preference at the end of the day, whatever you feel comfortable using. I recommend a 6.6 or a 5.5, and then working off however that feels. Simplify controls, that's set to off. Low motor strain preset, that's set to off. L1 button ping, that's set to off, and the swap of the L1 R1 and L2 R2, that's completely also personal preference. I know some people who usually always switch that out, to each their own. I've never done that. And by the way, I should have mentioned this earlier, I am playing on a PlayStation 5. I do have a PlayStation 5 controller that I'm using. This is the DualSense Pro Edge, I think that's what it's called, and you guys can see. There you go. Okay, so controller vibration, I highly recommend turning this off. This is one thing that's not really personal preference. This is something that we always recommend people turn off. You don't want anything distracting you from shooting, and that includes the vibration off your controllers. The trigger effects, this is something that PlayStation offers. Once again, this is something that you don't want on, especially while you're playing multiplayer. If you want to try while you're playing zombies or while you're doing the campaign, I typically turn it on for the campaign, but that's about it. All right, well, here we go, guys. This is an important part here. This is the dead zone input. Now look, this is what I currently have set right here for my controller, and the main ones that you want to adjust here, guys, is the left stick minimum and the right stick minimum. Now look, every controller is different. The whole idea is that you want to have these levels as low as possible when you don't have any movement, and you guys can actually test the stick dead zone just by turning this on for a second. And as you guys can see, what you're basically looking for is minimal to absolutely no movement when you move your sticks. So for me, that'll be a left stick minimum of 1 and a right stick minimum of 3. L2 and R2 button dead zones, also I kind of just put that as low as possible. I just put that at a 1. All right, next up here, guys, we have aiming. Under the aiming tab, we have first up sensitivity multiplier. I don't really adjust any of these, like the first 4. I don't really adjust any of these. If you want to adjust the ADS sensitivity multiplier, you can, and if you want to adjust the ADS sensitivity multiplier, I set that down to a 90. I played a couple of games and I adjusted it just to, you know, whatever I felt was the best for me, and for me that's a 0.90. Look inversion, I never really adjust that. Aiming advanced settings, let's get into this. First up, look inversion, I typically have everything just set to standard. Next up here, guys, ADS sensitivity transition timing. Listen, during the Black Ops 6 beta, we all had it on gradual, and gradual actually might still be the best one to use. I'm currently testing instant just to see how well it feels, and then I'm going to be switching back and forth just to see which one I personally prefer. Third person ADS correction type, I just have that set to assist. I didn't really adjust that. Aim response curve type, ladies and gentlemen, when I tell you this is personal preference, this is as much personal preference as it gets for you guys, and you can even go as far as adjusting the response curve slope as well. Now look, man, I've always been a linear. Ever since this setting was an option for us, I've always had it at linear. I know there's people that like standard. I know there's people that just rock with dynamic. To each their own. At the end of the day, you got to figure out what feels best for you. All right, and next up, custom sensitivity per zoom, and I turn that on, and then I adjusted here. So the low zoom, I have that set to a 0.80. The 2 times to 3 times zoom, I have that set to a 0.80. 4 times to 5 times zoom, I have that set to a 0.90. The 6 times to 7 times, I have that set to a 0.95, and then these two I just left at a 1. And when it comes to the custom sensitivity per zoom, do not be afraid to just try different things. You know, higher, lower, whatever you feel works best for you. That's what you guys need to do and need to find out for yourselves. This is my base right here, and I'm sure throughout my gameplay time in Black Ops 6, I'll probably be adjusting this. All right, next up here, guys, target aim assist. I mean, this is something that you want to have on if you play on console, especially if you play on controller. Target aim assist, turn that on. Motion censored behavior, I just have that off, and then with the advanced settings, because I have this off, the advanced settings don't really matter. All right, next up here, guys, under movement, sprint assist off, mantle assist off, crouch assist off, corner slice, to each their own. This is basically the mechanic whenever you're entering a corner or whenever you're peeking outside of a window or a door, that it does that mechanic where it kind kind of like leans and tilts over left and right. I mean, to each their own. You can have that on or off. I personally don't mind it, so I'm just having it on for the moment. Next up here, guys, slide and dive behavior. So a lot of people during the Black Ops 6 beta were gassing up hybrid. I tried hybrid. I wasn't a big fan. I think I spent most of my time during the Black Ops 6 beta just using slide only, but I'm currently trying tap to slide just to see, you know, if I really like the way the dive mechanics work and how it feels and all that stuff. To each their own. At the end of the day, this is what I'm using. I can see myself switching to a slide only. I wasn't a big fan of hybrid, but again, to each their own. And then with this also, I just adjusted it here for the slide/dive activation delay. I kind of just have that onto short so you can just do it as fast as possible. All right, auto door peek, that is off. Automatic airborne mantle, that is off. Sprint restore, I have that set to on. Slide maintain sprint on. Parachute automatic behavior, I have that off. I don't really like the parachute to open automatically. I like to be the one to open the parachutes, but that's obviously like a more of a war zone thing, but that's what I have on there. Mantle cancels reload, I have that on. I'm sorry, excuse me, no, sorry, mantle cancels, I don't know why I had that on. Mantle cancels reload, that is off, ladies and gentlemen. I turned that off. I don't like mantle assist in any way, shape, or form, so I just have that off. And moving along here, guys, the movement advanced settings, you enter this. Sprint/tactical sprint behavior, I just have that on to toggle, whatever works for you. I've always used toggle, so that's what I'm comfortable with. Auto move forward, I have that set to off. Grounded mantle, I have that on, but it's climb nearby obstacles while on the ground using the jump button. I mean, I don't really ever see myself utilizing that. I mean, I have it on, but I don't know if that's ever something I'm going to use. Tactical sprint activation, this is a new one here. I've always been the single tap sprint, but I mean, to each their own on this one. If you guys want to try different ones out for yourselves, by all means, go for it. I think Exclusive Ace made a video during the Black Ops 6 beta where he said he was trying one of these new ones here. I forgot which one it was, but he did try a new one. He said that he liked it. Next up here, guys, plunging underwater, we have that set to free. And sprinting door bash, basically when you run through a door, it just bashes it open. I have that on. All right, and then for the advanced vehicle settings here, I mean, I didn't adjust any of these, but there you go. That's what I'm currently using. All right, and in the next tab here, this is under combat. Aim down sight behavior, we have that set to hold. Weapon mount activation, I've always had it as ADS plus melee, where you basically ADS, you're near the ledge, and then you press circle, and then it mounts it. To each their own. At the end of the day, that's what I'm using. Dedicated melee weapon activation. Now, you can do the weapon cycle, which basically you'll have to bring up the little wheel, and then you can select the melee weapon. You can do it like that, or you could just hold down whatever the melee button is, which for me would be circle, and that's the one that I personally would recommend, but to each their own. Armor plate behavior, I just have it as apply all. C4 detonation activation, I have all at once. Equipment behavior, I have set to hold. Manual fire behavior, I have set to press. If you have burst weapons that you're not a big fan of, like using the like just pressing every time you have to shoot, you could switch that to hold, but some of them reduce the fire rate like to an extreme amount. I mean, just keep that in mind if that's something that you guys want to try, but obviously I have that set to press right now. All right, next up here, guys, the combat advanced settings. Going into this focus behavior, I just have that locked off at the moment. Change up directional behavior, ping, the change zoom activation. I mean, whatever you guys feel more comfortable with. I've always used the sprint tactical sprint focus, so that's what I'm using. Weapon mount exit, I just have that set to instant. You guys can do whatever you want. I would recommend instant, honestly, on this one. Interact reload behavior, I currently have that set to tap to reload. I know if you're playing Warzone, you probably want to prioritize reload or prioritize interact or tap to interact, whatever it is. But for multiplayer, tap to reload. Sprint cancels reload, I have that set to off. ADS stick swap, I have that set to off. Depleted ammo switch, that's actually on. So basically, if you're just shooting a gun and you run out of bullets, it'll just switch to your secondary automatically. And then lastly here, guys, the body shield finishing move behavior, I just have it set to prioritize finishing move. I don't really see myself using the body shield that much. I mean, if I want to use it, it'll probably be in a specific situation, but for the most part, I'm probably just wanting to kill, which is the finishing move. All right, and the last one here under combat, we have the overlay advanced settings going into this. So inventory control is the directional button, or you can use the stick, whatever you feel more comfortable with. Ping wheel delay, I have that set to short. Double tap danger ping delay, I have that set to short, and the wheel behavior, I have that set to hold. All right, next up here, guys, we're looking at graphics, and first up we have the gamma/brightness settings. I usually go up about 5 or 10. That's just me. Whatever you guys feel more comfortable with, you guys do you on that one. And the eco mode preset, I just have that set to efficiency. All right, the next tab here, ladies and gentlemen, we have under quality, we have world motion blur off, weapon motion blur off, depth of field off, and then we have fidelity cast. As long as this option has been the game, I usually always have that on. And then the CAS strength is, I would recommend anywhere between 50 to 60 to 65 to 70 at most. I'm going 65 in this game just to see, you know, how it looks and all that stuff. But typically I would have that down to maybe about a 55, but I'm going to try 65 here and just see how the game looks and feels. And then for the on-demand texture streaming, I have this set to optimize. You guys can do minimal, which is basically just like turning it off. And then I have auto here and then off at the moment. All right, and next tab here, ladies and gentlemen, is the view accessibility solution motion reduction preset. I have that off. All right, next up here, guys, field of view. I've usually had it at a 105 in the recent Call of Duty games that have given me this option. I felt like for Black Ops 6, I don't know why, I just wanted to bump it up. I probably would even bump it up to 115. 110 feels pretty good at the moment, so I have it set to 110, and I would recommend you guys, whatever you had it, maybe go 5 up. For the ADS field of view, I have that set to affected, and I recommend you guys do the same. Weapon field of view, I have that set to default. Third person field of view, I just left that at 90 there. Vehicle field of view, I just have that as default as well. Now, here's an important one for you guys as well. This is the first person and third person camera movement. I set that to the least, which would be the 50%, and I recommend you guys do the same. And then the third person ADS transition, I just have that set to whatever it was there. And then lastly here, you guys, for the inverted flashbang, I have that on. I just don't like the super bright like white light on my screen. Kind of bothers my eyes a little bit, and I would recommend you guys turn that on as well, unless you don't care. All right, next up, we got audio. Master game volume here, ladies and gentlemen. I have my master game volume set to 84, and then because I'm a content creator, I'm a streamer, I usually turn the gameplay music volume all the way off, but to each their own on that one. Dialogue is set to 70. Effect volume is set to 100, and the cinematic music volume is also set to 0. Now, this is a new setting here, you guys. This is the enhanced headphones mode, and I heard about this. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I just left it off. I currently use a mix amp, so I can adjust and finally tune my audio on like just the mix amp and using the software that goes with the mix amp. So I think what I'm going to do with this setting, I think I'm just going to wait and see what other people have to say about it. And if enough people are saying like, this is beneficial, then maybe I'll consider trying it out and turning it on, but I just have it off at the moment. For my audio mix, I have headphone bass boost. Mono audio is set to off there, you guys. A mute licensed music. I'm a content creator and a streamer, so I just have that on. Asymmetrical hearing compensation, I just have that off. Configure frequency, intensity. I guess if you want to adjust these things, you can, but I just have it set to whatever the default settings are. Reduce tinnitus sound here, I just have that set to off, and the hit marker preset, I have that set to default. In the next tab here, guys, for voice chat settings, you guys can see these are all the settings that I have for voice chat. I don't know if this matters to you guys. Microphone level, I just have it set to 40 there. And open mic sensitivity, I have this set to 35. All right, and next one here, guys, we're looking at interface. The interface settings, first up, the global tab. Visual support preset, I just have that set to off. Menu prompts are automatic. Gameplay tips, all of this stuff is on, except for skip kill cam. And if I die in a suspicious way, I want to see the kill cam. I want to see if the guy was cheating or stuff like that, so I just have that on. I'm sorry, excuse me, I have that off so that I can see it. For the telemetry here, guys, server latency and packet loss are the two that I always recommend that you turn on. These other things you don't really have to. That's personal preference at the end of the day, but these two certainly have these two on. All right, next tab here, guys, readability. When it comes to subtitles, everybody always asks, why do you always have subtitles on? Listen, I don't know, man. Ever since I was younger and I bought my first Call of Duty game, or any game in general, when subtitles are available, I usually just always have them on. So I just have subtitles on. Subtitle size, I just have it set to larger there. Let's see here. Menu text size is set to larger. Text chat size is just set to default there. Whoops, sorry. And this is an important part here that we're about to get into, you guys. And this is the color customization. And once again, that's under readability, under the interface. So color customization. Now look, you can use any of these options, but I personally like to use custom. And what I like to do is I like to choose a color and I like to customize that color to the highest possible brightness and the highest possible saturation so that the colors really pop on screen. These are the colors that I'm going with. For me, I got like a yellowish color. For my teammates, I have for my team, I have like a bluish, a light, a sky light blue kind of a color. My party, if I'm ever partying up with any people, like a neon green. The enemy appears in like a very bright neon pink. I just feel like that color really pops on my screen. Neutral is set to white. Contested is set to a very bright red. And then squad member colors, I don't know if you want to adjust this. I didn't adjust this because I don't feel like it really matters, but to each their own there. For the color filter, is set to a filter 2. For color filter target, I have it set to both. And then for the world color intensity, interface color intensity, I have that both set to 100. All right, for the safe area, you just got to adjust that to your own monitors. The HUD preset, this is another new one. I'm kind of just leaving it as is for me, man. If I want to change it in the future, you know, maybe I will. At the moment, I'm currently just have it set to standard. But what I did change was some of the settings under the visual tab, starting with the mini map shape. I have that set to square. The compass type, I have that on mini map there. Mini map rotation is on, radar is off. The scale, I have that set to 130. I could even see myself going even much higher. I'll probably put it here to like a 145. What's the highest? 150? I go 140 and just see how that feels. But yeah, there you go. 140. Information set to all. Icon scale set to 125. Minimap opacity set to 100. And even this is something that you can adjust as well, which I probably will adjust. I'm gonna leave it at 100 right now. You can definitely adjust any of these settings to whatever you like and whatever looks good for you. Weapon information, equipment information, all of this is just set to default, you guys. Whatever the default settings was, I just have that as is. And then you do have the color option as well, which is basically just the same colors that I used. You guys can see same settings. And then back to the gameplay HUD tab here. So minimap rotation, what did I say? On, radar off, compass type minimap, vehicle HUD prompts fade after 10 seconds, in-game text chat, that is on. Player names, I have that as full name. Crosshair, you can adjust this also. The one thing I would recommend, make sure to turn the crosshair dot on, and I would recommend put the largest option there. Crosshair spread, put that on. Opacity, you know, put that at max right there. And then I chose green just to be different, but I would recommend a white one or whatever you feel comfortable with. Go completely up to you. Hit marker visual is on. Damage based hit marker is on as well. And then all of these settings down here, once again, these are all just default. And then lastly here, ladies and gentlemen, for the account and network settings, the only two I'm going to show you is the crossplay and crossplay communication. I have that on. That's another personal preference thing. If you don't want to have that on, you don't have to. But there you have it, folks. Those are my PS5 multiplayer settings. They can definitely change. They can definitely update throughout the gameplay, throughout the life cycle of Black Ops 6. But these are the base. This is what I'm currently using. Played a couple of games already. I'm feeling pretty comfortable with these settings. So highly recommend trying these out. And I hope that this video was informative and helpful. Any comments or questions, please let me know in the comment section below. I'll try to get back to as many people as I can. All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed the video, if you enjoyed the content, or if you're just new around here, just haven't done so already, please subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and drop a like on today's video. It would really help out. Any feedback, please let me know in the comment section below. Once again, I'll be happy to answer any questions. Remember, you can use code GRAY over at Control Freaks. You can also use code GRAY over at Aim Controllers, and you can use code YTGRAY over at G Fuel. Links in the description below to everything I just mentioned. Make sure to check us out outside of YouTube on our social media platforms: TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat. Links to everything in the description below. Make sure to check us out over on our streaming platforms as well. And I'm going to call it there for me today, you guys. All right, thank you all very much. Till the next one, my name is Gray. Peace.